Hey, I'm Aura, and right now I'm standing in one of the most dangerous places on Earth, the Sahara Desert. Before I show you why people are still scared of this place 1,000 years later, let me take you back to where this whole story begins. If you got lost in the Sahara 1,000 years ago, you didn't simply die. You disappeared. The desert buried you. No grave, no rescue, no second chance. First, your water ran out. Then your camels collapsed. Then the men around you began seeing lakes that weren't there. And if you'd missed the next well by only a few miles, you were already dead. One of the Sahara's most experienced guides learned that the hard way. After crossing the desert so many times, he knew it almost by memory. He made one mistake, just one. He wandered off course. 3 days later, he died of thirst, almost within sight of the well he had spent his life searching for. Yet stories like this didn't stop people, because hidden beyond those endless sands was something so valuable that men were willing to gamble everything to reach it. Gold. Enough gold to build empires. Enough gold to crash entire economies. Enough gold to make kings famous across continents. This is the story of the Sahara Trade Routes, the roads that turned sand into wealth, created some of Africa's greatest civilizations, and swallowed countless travelers whole. How did anyone cross 3 million square miles of the world's largest hot desert and survive? And why did so many keep trying after watching the desert kill the men before them? To answer that, we have to go back to a time when crossing the Sahara was considered impossible. This whole nightmare started because of one thing, the camel. It changed everything about crossing this desert. Let me show you why. For most of human history, the Sahara wasn't a trade route. It was a wall, a massive barrier stretching across North Africa, separating the Mediterranean world from the kingdoms farther south. Berber tribes lived along its edges. Tuareg families moved with the seasons. But deep inside the desert, there was almost nothing. No cities, no kingdoms, no armies, because no one could survive there long enough to rule it. The Sahara decided who lived and who died. Then everything changed. The animal that transformed the desert wasn't a horse, it wasn't a donkey, it was the camel. Around the 3rd century AD, North African peoples perfected the use of the dromedary camel, an animal seemingly designed by nature specifically for the Sahara. A camel could travel for days without drinking, carry hundreds of pounds, and survive heat that would kill most other animals. Suddenly, the impossible became possible. For the first time, the Sahara wasn't just a barrier, it was a road. But crossing that road was still a deadly gamble. By the 8th century, Berber traders had discovered something remarkable. The Sahara had an invisible highway, you couldn't see it. There were no signs, no roads, no landmarks, only wells. A chain of scattered water sources stretched across the desert, each just close enough that a caravan could reach the next one before dying of thirst. Miss a well, and everyone died. Find it, and entire fortunes could cross the desert. Knowledge of these routes became priceless and dangerous, because whoever controlled the wells controlled the desert. Soon, Muslim merchants from North Africa joined forces with Berber guides, creating the first major trade network linking the Mediterranean to West Africa. What followed changed history. Salt traveled south. Gold traveled north. And in the middle of the desert, entire civilizations grew rich. Some early traders conducted what historians call silent trade. Neither side fully trusted the other. According to some accounts, one group would leave salt behind and walk away. Later, the gold traders would return, leave gold in exchange, and disappear before anyone saw them. No contracts, no banks, no written agreements, only trust, and the understanding that cheating could destroy the trade for everyone. For centuries it worked, and Europe barely knew it existed. But wealth on this scale always attracts attention. Crossing the Sahara was never safe. Every caravan knew that. Bandits waited near wells. Sandstorms could erase an entire route in hours. Temperatures regularly climbed high enough to kill exposed travelers. And then there was the greatest danger of all. getting lost. In the early 19th century, one enormous caravan left Timbuktu heading north. Nearly 2,000 men, almost 1,800 camels, one of the largest crossings ever attempted. Their cargo was worth a fortune: salt, gold, luxury goods. The caravan moved quickly. Everyone knew that lingering in the Sahara could be fatal. Then their guide made one wrong turn. That was all it took, just a few miles off course. The well that should have been there wasn't. The caravan searched and searched. Days passed. Water disappeared. Men collapsed first. Then the camels, the very animals built for this desert, began dying too. By the time rescuers found what remained, almost everyone was dead. Bodies lay scattered across the sand for miles. Some still lay beside bags of gold, worthless now. Because in the Sahara, gold could buy many things. Water wasn't one of them. You might think a disaster like that would end the trade. It didn't. The profits were simply too great. As trade expanded, powerful West African states realized something important. Whoever controlled the trade routes controlled unimaginable wealth. The first major empire to dominate this system was Ghana. Later came Mali, and Mali transformed everything. This was no longer a collection of independent merchants. The state itself invested in caravans. Soldiers protected routes. Officials taxed trade. Wells were guarded. Caravans grew larger. Cities exploded in wealth. Sijil Masa became the northern gateway into the Sahara. Deep in the desert, Tajaza emerged around enormous salt mines. Nothing grew there. People lived there for one reason only: salt. And farther south stood Timbuktu. What began as a seasonal trading camp evolved into one of the richest cities in Africa. But Timbuktu's greatest treasure wasn't gold. It was knowledge. We'll come back to that. First, the world needed to hear about Mali, and one man made sure it did. In 1324, Mali's ruler, Mansa Musa, set out on pilgrimage to Mecca. What followed became legendary. Thousands accompanied him: servants, officials, soldiers, slaves, and camels carrying enormous quantities of gold. Everywhere Musa stopped, he spent lavishly. He gave gold away, bought gifts, funded projects, and distributed wealth on a scale few had ever witnessed. According to historical accounts, he spent so much gold in Egypt that its value dropped for years afterward. Whether every detail is true or not, one fact is undeniable: the world noticed. European map makers began drawing Mansa Musa holding a giant nugget of gold. Suddenly, rulers across the Mediterranean wanted access to West Africa's wealth, and that wealth still had to cross the Sahara. By the 15th century, the desert trade had become an empire-sized machine. But beneath the surface, cracks were already forming. As Mali weakened, another empire rose: Songhai. Based in the city of Gao, Songhai expanded aggressively under rulers like Sunni Ali, eventually taking Timbuktu and many of Mali's former territories. On paper, Songhai controlled the trade routes. In reality, things were more complicated, because outside the cities lived the Tuareg, and the Tuareg answered to no empire. They knew every well, every hidden route, every water source. Caravans paid them for safe passage, refuse, and you might never reach your destination. Empires controlled cities. The Tuareg controlled survival itself. A fragile balance emerged. Neither side trusted the other, yet both needed each other. For generations, that uneasy arrangement held. Then gunpowder arrived, and everything changed. In 1591, Morocco invaded. Its target was clear: the gold, the salt, the trade routes. At Tondibi, Moroccan forces met the much larger Songhai army. But numbers no longer mattered. Morocco brought muskets, cannons, firepower unlike anything Songhai had faced. The battle was devastating. Within hours, one of Africa's greatest empires collapsed. Thousands died. Gao fell. Timbuktu followed. Morocco had won. Or so it seemed, because the desert had defeated conquerors before, and it would do so again. Moroccan governors soon discovered a brutal truth. You cannot rule sand. Tuareg raids hammered supply lines. Garrisons vanished. Soldiers disappeared in the open desert. One governor sent to control Timbuktu was dead within a year. Eventually, Morocco learned the same lesson every empire learned. Cities could be occupied, the desert could not. Whoever controlled the wells controlled the Sahara. Always. While armies fought over gold, something extraordinary happened inside the caravan cities. Timbuktu became one of the great intellectual centers of the medieval world. Gold funded mosques. Mosques attracted scholars. Scholars brought books. The Sankor Mosque evolved into a center of learning that housed thousands of manuscripts covering law, mathematics, medicine, astronomy, and theology. Students traveled for months across deserts simply to study there. Gao flourished as well. Caravanserais, fortified roadside inns, provided merchants places to rest, trade, and recover before continuing their journeys. Outside the walls, the desert remained deadly. Inside, knowledge accumulated. Empires rose, empires collapsed. But libraries kept growing. For centuries, it seemed the trade would last forever. Then ships arrived. By the late 15th century, Portuguese sailors had found another way to reach West Africa. They sailed around the continent. No desert required, no wells, no caravans, no months-long crossings. Slowly, trade shifted towards the coast. Gold that once moved north through the Sahara now moved west to the sea. The great caravan cities began losing their purpose. Centuries later, European colonial powers carved borders across the Sahara that ignored the old routes completely. The desert didn't care. It never had. Today, highways cross parts of the old caravan roads. Trucks travel where camels once walked. Some routes now carry migrants, smugglers, and modern commerce. Others attract tourists searching for a glimpse of the ancient world. But the mathematics of the Sahara remains unchanged. Miss the water, you die. The same wells, the same sand, the same unforgiving desert. Only the names of the people trying to cross it have changed.